Peace, fam. How y'all doing today? At one Rosso Nation, and this is Thoughts on the Plantation. Peace. How y'all families doing? How y'all families doing out there? Today on Thoughts on the Plantation, we're gonna start off by reviewing DMX new album. DMX, Dark Man X in the house. What? All right, check it. DMX album. On a mic scale, I'm gonna be kind. I'm gonna give this album a 2 mics out of 5. 2. And that's me being kind. That's for y'all who think I'm disrespecting DMX. I give him a 2. That's for peace. Word up. This album was garbage, yo. This album is garbage. The beats are whack. The lyrics are whack. Number one, first thing I noticed off this album was DMX and him being offbeat. DMX is offbeat. Being offbeat already get you cut. You understand? As an MC, being offbeat automatically gets you cut. That's just the truth. I know a lot of people aren't going to be honest, and they're going to be like, oh, you got to respect him because he passed, and you know what I'm saying? You don't disrespect the dead, all that old nonsense. I'm talking about MCing as an art form. I'm talking about hip-hop as an art form. I'm not talking about Simmons. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about Earl. I'm talking about DMX. But when you're ready to talk about Earl, we can talk about that as well. But as far as this album is concerned, there's not any memorable beats. The beats they don't sound like anything. Like, there's no real personality to these beats. I don't know what's up with Swiss beats. I guess I usually think Swiss has some dope beats. But now that I think back, Swiss beats ain't really had no real dope beats. Like, nothing that's memorable besides the ones that he rocked on for Rough Rider cats. But they aren't really memorable like that. Maybe the older ones, maybe some of the older beats. But Swiss, now that I think about it, not really. Nobody's jumping for, I want a Swiss beats. Nobody, I don't see people jumping like that. Man, I've never heard anybody be like, man, if I get a Swiss beats beat. No, nobody says that. So anyway, there's no memorable beats. Lyricism-wise, DMX was not up to par. Doesn't really sound like he's been writing like that, honestly. Doesn't sound like it. Sound like he's really trying and practicing to get on point. He was all beat. So I probably would have been more happy to hear DMX by himself than with all those features, because those features were so out of place and garbage. Like, he had features with none other than Griselda. And I heard DMX in the interview say he wanted Griselda cats on his album. So peep this. And this is real. Now we're going to talk about Simmons. Because my thing is, I'm not going to, first of all, I don't represent no crack. Like Shinehead. Give me no crack. Don't give me no crack. Shinehead, back in the day. People of my generation will remember, but a lot of other folks don't know who Shinehead is. But I'm going to say, if I die from a drug overdose, you're not going to be on my album promoting cocaine. And the first thing to come out of this fool's mouth, speaking on Westside Gun and Griselda, is he got good cocaine. He got the best cocaine. Really? Really? You're on the album of a dude who died from drugs. You're on the album of a dude whose whole life was controlled by hardcore drugs. And the best lines you can come up with is how good your cocaine is. So this is what I'm saying about adults being foolish on purpose. These guys are getting close to 40 and they talking like that. And then y'all that's in my generation who think this is okay for artists to be promoting hardcore drugs to the youth, y'all are garbage for that. And I would never let y'all live that down. Like, I don't care what nobody says. It's garbage. Anybody promoting crack, cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, mollies, all that in your music, you garbage. Out the gate. Automatically you garbage. That's just what it is. I'm 45. Why would, even when I was 15, 16, 17, I wasn't down with that. I was making lyrics when I was 18, 19, something like that. I was making songs about not doing drugs, right? And not shooting guns. Like, that's the songs I was making as a teenager. About you fake, if you're talking about shooting the gun in the songs and you falling in with drugs and all that. Like, I was doing that as a teenager. So how do you think 20, 25 years, you know what I'm saying, 30 years later, how do you think I'm not going to be saying the same thing? And this is about what the truth is. So about DMX album, the reason I give it a 2 is because DMX lyrically wasn't on point. He had weak rhymes. I can't even remember half the weak lines now that he said. And DMX has never been like some prolific MC or something, but nonetheless, DMX is an MC. But he's more of an energetic type. His energy drives you more than anything. And the type of beats he get on. And if those beats ain't right, he ain't gonna sound right. And he really sounded like he was struggling, you know, doing a lot of that yelling, like he was trying to get himself back. It wasn't happening. One of my favorite songs on the album is a song where he's mainly by himself besides the singing parts. And that's, of course, a Letter to My Son, Call Your Father song. Best song on the album by far. By far. What else you gonna say? The song with the Locks was whack. The song with Griselda was whack. You got a song with Nas and, well, that song with Nas is okay. It's all right. It's all right. It ain't nothing I'll go back and play, but it's all right. It's cool. The song with Nas and Jay-Z, no, Jay-Z was garbage. And here go Nas again with some Adam and Eve lines. Look, man, I'm tired of y'all with these freaking Judeo-Christian raps, man. I'm listening to cats touching 50, still kicking Jesus Christ and Adam and Eve. And they ate the apple. Man, that shit is phony, man. It's fake. So why y'all still kicking that? And no, you don't get respect for that. I'm not respecting you for kicking on whack lines. You supposed to be kicking knowledge. You go this far just to talk about Adam and Eve eating an apple? Really? Anyway, talking about people falling short. Nobody falls short. That story is not real. Whew, boy. But then you got people saying that Nas is rapping over people's heads. Since when? Nas ain't never rapped over nobody's head. Maybe some low standard cats, maybe, but no, hip hop heads, you can't rap over no hip hop heads head. Let me explain something to you. First of all, I'll put it like this. When X-Clan came out in 91, if I'm not mistaken, 1991, they rapped over my head. Because the things they were talking about, I had no idea about. I hadn't read not a half of what they had read. Not at all. And they were saying things I had no idea about what they were talking about. But guess what? I knew it meant something important. That's why I was listening. Even though I couldn't understand every word and everything they were saying, through their vocabulary and the concepts they were speaking on, I knew it was important, I knew it was truth, and I knew it was real, even though I couldn't understand it. Because it was the energy behind it that drove me to buy it. And I used to play it all the time. And guess what? It took me years later, after hardcore studies through years, go back and listening to X-Clan and these guys and totally understood everything that was being rapped about. Took me 20 years to figure it out. Them guys were way ahead of us. So it's silly to look at guys now and think that and see cats thinking they talking about something when in 1990, 30 years ago, there were guys it took 30 years ago, it took me 20 years, you understand, to catch up with what they were saying 30 years ago. And you really think that you're going to come now after not even listening to them and listen to a bunch of garbage and know where we are today? Y'all don't get it, man. Y'all don't get it. So if you're not even listening to what we grew up on, how you understand what the standard is? You don't. How you gonna figure out what's good, what's not, and why it is and why it's not when you haven't done the research on the music and the art form? You haven't listened, meaning if you haven't studied the hip hop music, you haven't listened to it. And you haven't read who made what beats and what artists, you know what I'm saying, did this and did that. Y'all don't understand that. You know, y'all don't understand that. It's like for some reason these people think that we don't know how it works in the studio. We don't know how it works in the studio. We don't know what goes on with artists. And people my age been artists all their life. So imagine if you 10 years under me. Imagine if you 10 years under me or 5 years under me. Imagine if you 10 years under me. It's a good number. If I'm 10 in 85, and I was born in 76. If I'm 10 in 76, meaning 86, and you're just being born, that means by the time I'm 14 and I'm hearing all this music and stuff, you don't know, you haven't heard it yet. You still in your Pampers, taking dumps in your Pampers and got to be changed. So you ain't nowhere near where I am, right? So then jump another 10 years. From 86 to 96. Now, you're just 10, just hearing music. You still can't buy it yet. But at 96, guess what? I'm already doing shows. I'm already writing and reciting. You can't even go out by yourself. You understand? This is what I tell people about generational, understanding the generations when it comes to the art. There's things that you don't know, you will never know, you will never understand because you didn't live it. You wasn't there. This is for people who are under us, like as far as age is concerned, 10 years behind a 45-year-old. And for 45-year-olds and 50-year-olds that aren't teaching the youth this, y'all don't get it. Y'all saying, oh, they're dumb, because you're not teaching them. I blame the adults, our generation, for not teaching the ones behind us. That's the problem. I was talking to a 22-year-old today. This 22-year-old brother said his generation is lost. He said they're a bunch of followers. He said they have no guidance. He said, a 22-year-old said it. He said that generation have no guidance. He said their generation is a bunch of followers. He said all they want to listen to is shoot them up, my bitch this, and these drugs. Everybody want to be drug dealers, and if they rap it about doing things that they don't even live the life. They don't even live that life. And they just want to rap it because the adults have made it seem like it's cool. Now he said most cats aren't even listen to mainstream cats. They're listening to whoever their local acts are. So they're not even listening to the mainstream cats anymore. They don't care about, they probably listen to them, care a little bit about, but they don't care because mainstream is pop now. It's mainstream pop culture. It's not even regular mainstream where you get a mixture of these underground cats, mixture of this soul cat, mixture of this. No, it's just mainstream pop. And it's corrupted in a mug. So they don't even listen to that because the mainstream cats are garbage anyway. So they'd rather listen to people that come from their own town, which makes sense, really, which is a good thing because they're only listening to people from where they're from, mainly. They're giving them love, right? So even though a lot of them garbage and they trying to kick the drill rap, this is what the young brother was telling me. The brother he said the one brother had come on his Facebook page and let everybody know, like the police and them, that he wasn't a gangster, he didn't live that life, he just was an entertainer. Young boy in his early 20s, right? Out there talking about shooting guns and got drugs and this, and I don't do none of that. Don't do none of it. So this young brother told me, so I asked him like, what do you think, enable you to not go that route, to want to be like, just live your life and push for something, regular life, push for something regular, not to try to be down with that crowd. He said, man, I just don't like the drama, So that's very respectable. That's honorable. You don't like the drama. He got a 2-year-old daughter. He got a girlfriend. He trying to work. He trying to do this, do that. He ain't got time to be hanging out there. Now, something he told me, he said, man, I don't go to parties a lot. He said, but when I go to a party, if I see more than one gun, if I see 2 guns, what he said, he's out. Which I thought was funny because back in the day, if we even heard that a brother had a gun at the party, we out, son. I ain't sticking around with nobody bringing a gun to the party. I'm out. I'm going home. Simple as that. I'm going home. I'm not hanging around you. I'm not going to be the one shot in this doggone, in this party. It's not going to be cheap. But, yeah, so I'm basically talking about this DMX because people got offended when I was making comments on Facebook about the album. I mean, if I say somebody's whack, if I say somebody's garbage, they garbage. It's simple. Why y'all why are you saying DMX is garbage? Why are you saying trash? You can't say that. One sister said that something from the spirit realm was going to get me. Man, come on, man. Come on, sis. Something from the spirit realm going to get me because I said DMX is whack. But ain't nothing from the spirit realm getting all these people kidnapping these babies every day. These babies dying and being murdered. Ain't nobody getting them. Come on now, let's be for real. I don't want to go there, man. Let's just keep it with the art form. I'm just talking about the art form. If I go into the spirit realm conversation, it's something totally different. It's something totally different. And I ain't claiming to know everything about the spirit world and everything, but I do know some things about the spirit realm. I do know some things about the spirit realm. I know some things about spirituality, man. I know some very, very good things, and I know some bad things. So I know some positives and I know some negatives, right? But this is not the video for this. We're talking about hip-hop culture, people talking about cocaine and crack in the music, how garbage that is, how garbage DMX is on the album. That's what we're talking about, how whack this album is. I give it a 2 mics out of 5, y'all. And people are going to disagree, and that's cool. That's fine. But guess what? I'll never play the album again. I'll never play that garbage album. Please. I think DMX, I don't even think he should have dropped a new album. He shouldn't have, because he didn't sound ready to rap. Right? He didn't sound ready to rap. Anybody that says that DMX sounded good on the album is lying. They lying. They lying. They lying. He does not sound good on this album. He does not sound prepared. He does not sound proper. He does not sound like the MC he's supposed to sound at this time ready. What's the problem? Because of his ups and downs. Now, this is where I was saying the day DMX passed, I kept saying online and telling my friends and family, this is the point in time where people should be using this as a teacher moment. But they're not. All they want to talk about is DMX being a great artist, a great celebrity. They're not talking about how the children need to be taught, how DMX was fooled as a youngster, and how it started off with him being hooked on drugs at an early age, and how y'all aren't telling the children, oh, you shouldn't be hanging with anybody. Don't be just smoking weed with just anybody. Y'all not using this as a teacher moment. DMX is a superstar. Why aren't you using this to teach the children what not to do? You don't want to follow DMX's path, right? You don't want your children to do that. So why aren't y'all talking about that instead of trying to defend the celebrity? Because that's what people do. All they want to do is defend celebrities. They want to ride the jock of celebrities. And the celebrity is just is a person creating the art form for them to get paid, for you to enjoy, but y'all are taking the person and putting them way up there like they can't do no wrong or they're infallible or whatever the case. I don't know. Like, y'all, I don't get that. Stop that crap and just teach the babies, man. Just teach the babies. That's it. Use this as a teacher moment. You still got time. You got a cat on the album. You got cats on the album that all they represent is cocaine, crack, heroin, self-destruction. And they own the same album of a cat that died from an overdose. You can't make this stuff up, right? You can't make this up. But cats don't want to hear it when I say something. They're like, oh, Antoine saying something crazy again. He's saying some crazy stuff. Check it out, yo. I say what needs to be said because it needs to be said. Because a lot of people ain't going to say what I say. There's a lot of people that say similar, things that I say. But for the most part, cats ain't going to say what I say. I'm not saying I'm by myself or I'm on this planet by myself. I'm not saying I'm on this planet by myself. All I'm saying is I know I say things that most people don't say and most people don't think about. Or if they ever think about it, they're afraid to say it. Maybe that's the case. But